Hello everybody. So today's video is a little somber, but at the same time I want to point out a lot of bullshit that happens around this. So, firstly, the somber factual part. Today, a Christian school in Madison, Wisconsin, the Abundant Life Christian Academy, or was it Christian School? Christian School, was a victim of a school shooting. It was, according to the sources, a 17-year-old female student. And, it was, we don't know the reasons why yet. They haven't said who the suspect is yet, although we know that the suspect is the suspect because they supposedly took themselves out, apparently. That's a common MO of school shooters. But it was a 9mm pistol that was used, and it ended up killing one child and a substitute teacher. So, 17-year-old, just making 100% sure. Yeah, no other pieces of information about this at all. A past 17-year-old female with a 9mm pistol. We don't know race. We don't know if there was a certain community that they belong to. I'm willing to bet. So the longer we don't get specific information about the person, I'm willing to bet they're a part of a certain community. Specifically LGBT+. Because the longer they take to actually say something, the more likely it is that it's going to be hurtful to the left's narrative. She will either be a minority or LGBT. One of the two. That's my guess. We do not have information yet, but every time that they drag their feet on telling information in a shooting, it's one of those two things. It took a couple days for the shooting in Tennessee to be revealed that it was a trans person, I think. It's been a bit, but point is, I'm willing to bet that it's going to end up being someone in either minority or LGBT communities due to the fact that they are just dragging their feet on saying anything past 17-year-old female. So, what do we know of the victims? Like I said, a student and a teacher. Here it was, the statement that was given. There was a woman who called in sick today. She's a teacher. And there was a substitute that came in to replace her that was shot and killed. So it was a substitute teacher that was actually killed by the shot. I believe it's 6 wounded. Yeah, at least 6 people were injured. And so with this, one of the key things that I hear people say all the time is that, well, you know what? I'll get to that here in just one second, because our next part is Biden already issued, quote unquote Biden, because there was a undercover thing that was released today where basically someone in the administrative staff said that Biden isn't even alive basically at this point. He can barely understand the sentences. So his quote unquote his release said basically there's too many shootings, we must have Congress act and implement gun control. I don't think that that's true. So firstly, the age of this shooter was 17. Firstly, in just the possession of a firearm under the age of 18 is a misdemeanor. But you also cannot purchase and legally own any firearm, especially a pistol, until at least 18. Because in this case it was a 9mm pistol that was used in the crime, and you cannot own that until until 21, I believe, is the age for buying a pistol. Age for buying a pistol. I just want the age. Federal law is 21 years old. Confirmed. Okay. Had to make sure and put it on the screen because I was pretty sure 18 is for any rifles and 21 is for any pistols. That is a law. So this person legally did not own that pistol. The question is how they got a hold of it. And I'm sure that that's part of why the police are talking to their parents. But, needless to say, if the law already didn't stop them from having the pistol, then how will having them outlaw firearms stop them from having a pistol? Gun owners are already the most law-abiding section of the populace. Even more law-abiding than your guys' immigrant claims on the left. Because I know that you guys love to claim that they are the most law-abiding people. Even going by your statistics, gun owners are even more law-abiding than them. So that is so what I think really needs to happen. We're seeing a massive change in a culture. The left is starting to implement a culture in the United States that is very secular, very what you can do for me. You guys have pushed a culture on the left that is removing empathy and removing the value of any life at all. And that is causing these shootings to increase more and more and more. Notice I don't think there's any Republican shootings that have happened recently. It's maybe a Republican ages ago, but every single shooting that I am calling to my mind right now has been someone who is LGBT or left, like socialist left. Also, this sort of call from anyone on the left, anyone, is hypocritical at this point, because literally 1 week ago, everyone on the left is cheering for the murder of a man using a firearm. The value of life does not change based on your politics. It is a life is a life, and the only people whose lives are forfeit are people who have directly hurt others. In my personal opinion, I think it's very, very, very possible that the CEO of United didn't even actually know specifics of what was going on, because CEOs tend to hire people whose whole job is to handle X or Y. They are management men who hand projects or hand tasks out to others. They don't do it themselves. He wasn't saying, I need you guys to raise rejections or raise denials. So anyone who is happy about that murder and then acts like they have some moral outrage that, oh, guns were used again at a school, that's absolute hypocrisy, and you need to tell them to shut their mouths, because that hypocrisy it's not a good look for anyone. There's a family that doesn't have a dad anymore, and half the population cheers. Now I don't know if the substitute teacher was a parent or not, and there's definitely now a family that does not have their child. Those are all tragedies. Just like anyone who died because they were declined for a medical thing that they should have been covered for is a tragedy. But you have to use the legal system. You don't get to just judge for yourself and become judge, jury, and executioner. Our government was set up in a very specific way, with a legal system that was set up in a very specific way, so that you couldn't just bulldoze someone in the court of law, and it would also allow people to get protection through the court of law from people who would hurt them. That's just how it is. So, with that, we can also look down here. So, currently, let's look at this. So they say how many school shootings have happened in 2024 so far. So here's this chart we see here. Boom, boom, boom. It's pretty low. About halfway through Trump's term. For some reason, it starts shooting up. This is about the time that Democrats retook control of Congress. Funny how it jumps up whenever we're starting to hit this fever pitch politically, and it drops back down just a little bit by 2020. And then I'm guessing that the 2020, by the way, is due to lockdowns that it went back down. It probably would have kept climbing up. But then in 2021, 2022, 2023, and 2024, it's astronomical. It's 2 to 3 times higher than it was even at the highest before that. And I've got a couple things on this. One, look at this. I'm guessing that kids being isolated, stuck at home, not allowed to socially develop like they used to be allowed to socially develop, and doing all these other things is actually causing them to snap and break. And all of a sudden, there's a lot more school shootings, according to this statistics. But that's just another down, because we know statistically kids are way behind in where they should be in school, and they're socially way behind where they should be, all due to the lockdowns that Anthony Fauci implemented with absolutely no evidence, no data. And by the way, it was actually reported that we're pretty sure that the lockdowns didn't actually do anything to COVID, just like the masks didn't do anything. So with this, we're seeing a massive spike in the negatives with zero of the positives of a lockdown going into place, which is why a lockdown, in order for me to agree to a lockdown or follow a lockdown moving forward in my lifetime, the disease has to have a fatality rate of at least 33%. I want to see at least 1 in 3 people dropping before I'm saying, all right, I'm going to play it super safe. Because I don't think that, like, they told us that it was a way higher amount of deaths. They told us it was like 10%, 12%. I can't remember now because it's been 4 years. They told us it was way higher. And then you actually look at the statistics. I was looking at the statistics on the CDC website while they're telling us, hey, it's a 12% fatality or a 10% fatality. No, it was 10% or 12% in very specific sects of the population. If you were in the general population, it was like 0.1%. It was a flu from day one. I caught it, and it took me down like a serious flu, but it was a flu. So, also, look at this. So we see this giant spike. A lot of people aren't asking, where are these numbers coming from? Where are they coming from? Also, let me point one thing out really quickly. It says 323 for the year of 2024. But look at where I paused this in their thing. 39 school shootings causing deaths or injuries this year. That is a key thing. How are there 39 school shootings causing death or injury, but 323 reported? It's almost like a bunch of these don't actually fill the classification of the colloquially used school shooting. Because whenever you hear school shooting, you think of, oh, a kid had a gun and the kid used the gun. So 323 versus 39 where deaths or injuries occurred. Now we can break this down just a little bit. If we follow this link right here, this is the source of what this bar graph is used for. And I want to make a note. They're not telling you actually anything about this data. They are using the worst numbers they can because the media is not your friend. So let's look at this. Oh my goodness, look at this. We can see the number of people killed from shootings in schools every year since 70, 72 something. I'm not sure exactly. 79, 78, 77, 76, 75, 74, 73, 72, 71. So 71 up through 2022. So we can see that, 88 was a really rough year. In 88, we had about 10 people. 10. In the whole United States, over a whole year, 10 people died in a school shooting. Our worst year, it is, let's see here, this looks like it's about 4 plus 26, so 30. 30 people died in school shootings in our worst year. That is because of Sandy Hook. If it wasn't for Sandy Hook, it would have been 4. Parkland, 17. If it wasn't for Parkland, it would have been 3. Uvalde. If it wasn't for Uvalde, it would have been 0 that year. Like, look at all these zeros in here, where 0 people are killed by school shootings. And then all these 1s and 2s and 3s. This is a very serious statistic. How many people are actually losing their lives? You want to take away the rights of millions of law-abiding citizens, over 26 to 30 people losing their lives. Now, let me make this perfectly clear. I want to see every single one of these numbers as a 0, which is why I support school teachers and school resource officers being able to carry on school premises. And they should qualify as a school teacher so that we know that they can shoot under pressure. Have them run one of those drills where they run and acquire a target. Have them do that. And then we're good. But my point is this. Very few deaths in a year. 30. Meanwhile, the left, the same people that want to take away your guns so that 30 people don't die this year, are advocating for abortion, which literally kills millions of babies every single year. Millions are dead from that. And even if you took the rape and incest and allowed it to happen, it's still millions. You know why? It's 99% of abortions are not for rape or incest. So my point is, once again, 30 people died, which is tragic, and I want that to be a 0. But you want to remove the constitutional right that was actually written into the Constitution specifically, so that because of this number, while advocating for a quote-unquote right that was never written anywhere in the Constitution. No, it was not written anywhere, just so you guys know. Anyone who says that it is written in the Constitution is stupid. Or ignorant. Ignorant is the more proper word. They're either lying to you or they've been lied to. One of the two. Because it's not written in anywhere. The right to privacy thing that was actually acted on, basically saying you can't ask a woman what her stuff was, so you couldn't find out if it was a abortion or not. That's what's ridiculous about it. Like, that's not the same as killing another human being. And I'm sure that, I think the study was 80%, I believe, of conservatives actually support the idea of allowing rape and incest if they could fully ban just elective abortion. Because it would literally knock out 99% of abortion. There's a reason that Planned Parenthood is not wanting people to know these facts, because if it was ever agreed on, there would be so few abortions that Planned Parenthood wouldn't be able to exist. Anyways, so here's the key part though. This number's low, but here's how their numbers are actually discovered. It is included. This is documenting when a gun is fired, brandished, or a bullet hits school property. So if a school owns a 3-acre lot and a shot happens in a neighborhood nearby and the bullet lands in their football field, it gets counted. If a dude is going somewhere to off himself and finds a school parking lot and goes, "This is the place, I'm gonna do it," and pulls the trigger, it gets counted. Up in Chicago, if there's gangs that meet on a playground and shoot at each other, it gets counted. It's not school shootings the way that anyone uses the phrasing school shootings. Personally, this brandished one needs to be a subcategory. It needs to be school shooting data should always be when a gun is fired on the school grounds during school hours. The during school hours part is key. And the gun needs to be on the school grounds, unless specifically it's someone that's shooting at someone that's on school grounds while they are not on school grounds. And then brandish needs to be a second category, so that you can see how many times kids bring a gun to school and show it off to make someone back off. Because those are the only two acceptable things to count for me. If it's out of school hours, it doesn't count. Or if it just has a bullet hit the property of the school, it doesn't count. Kids going by in the night shooting at their schools because they hate their schools in the inner cities, that counts as a school shooting. How stupid is that? So you have to actually start looking at your data. That is the key. Don't just take what people are saying as fact. Look at the data. Look at how it's put together and what counts, because this matters. Whenever you're trying to see information, you need to look at what the information is actually documenting. So with that, don't listen to your crazy friends or your crazy in-laws or your crazy relatives that say that, oh, we need gun control. No, we don't need gun control. We need more guns on the campus in the hands of trusted individuals. We need trusted people with guns, as well as a return to the Judeo-Christian value that is placed on human life. Because Christians value all life. If someone's trans, they still think that their life matters. If someone is gay, they still think that their life matters, even if they don't agree with their lifestyle. Conservatives unanimously agree that all human life matters. It is a fact. The only time that Christians start getting divided on the value of a human life is whenever they have murdered someone. Some Christians also get wishy-washy on whether you forfeit your life after you have sexually taken someone else. I'm trying to be a little more careful with terminology that's used for YouTube. I probably already triggered the YouTube demonetization, but point is, return to human life. Please also take people that are mentally unwell, and we need to bring back insane asylums. We need to get rid of the lobotomization and the electrotherapy and stuff like that, but we do need to take people that are violently dangerous in society and separate them. Because I don't care if it's a mental illness or not. You are allowing innocent people to be at risk based on someone else having a mental problem that it causes them to try to hurt people. And it does not have to be permanent. It just has to be long enough for them to see a therapist, maybe figure out medication, and actually return back to a safe level of control of themselves. So we just need to return everything to a good state where we can trust each other. Because back in the early days, I think 70s, 80s, people literally brought their guns with them in their trucks to school so that they could go hunting or go to the trap shooting range or go wherever after school. There were literal gun clubs as a part of the school curriculum. Well, not curriculum, but you know what I'm saying. It is a change of morals, not a change of guns. So with that, think about it. Don't listen to people that are saying that it's all the gun's fault. I've seen one gun in my life fire itself, and that was a misfire issue where the upper was feeding or was firing the rounds when it shouldn't. The person kept control of the gun. They kept it aimed down range. It was all safe. We were good to go. But the key is still there. I've only seen one go off like that. Outside of that, a gun is not something that's going to just cause someone to die. It is all about the soul that is holding that gun. If that soul thinks, I can just kill as many people as I want before I have to take myself out. Okay. That's a dark, dark soul. And it is not one that matches our Judeo-Christian basis. Because even if you're not a Christian or a Jew, those values were worked into our ideas in the United States of you being able to own your property, you being able to protect yourself, you being able to be represented and not be oppressed, you not being a serf to some government official. All these human rights that we have to defend ourselves, to speak for ourselves, to attend our religion and practice our religion, all these things are Judeo-Christian values. You don't have to be a Judeo-Christian to actually think that these values have given you the good things that they've given you. Gay people literally, if it were not for Christians, would not be a status at all in the United States. Because Christians said, hey, yeah, you do you. We don't agree with it, but you do you. You have their Judeo-Christian values to thank for the LGBT community even being able to do this stuff. If you guys tried that stuff with a Muslim culture, your pride parades would have been just, you all would have been either arrested, killed, beaten, scared away. Horrible things would have happened if it had been a Muslim culture whenever pride parades started. There would be no gayness, no transness, none of it. With that, thank you guys for listening. It's a huge tragedy. My heart goes out to the families, but I mean, I know that the left's going to say, oh, thoughts and prayers. No, thoughts and prayers are a real thing. I can touch more on how those are on another video, but I'm sorry, but I don't take anything from you all seriously because I've seen what makes you cheer. Get your unempathetic asses out of my channel.